and we are going to get back into the flow of this show. And I want to keep it going because we are going to talk some burning hot NBA questions that we have as the season gets underway tomorrow. And I would love to do the honors here because I want to keep it where it is. I like order. I'm very big on order. And the biggest question, the biggest burning question that I have is, will the CP3 Warriors pairing work? That's my biggest question. When you look at polarizing trades the last couple years, the most polarizing trade to me 2 years ago was Rudy Gobert. And we all know how that panned out with him going to the Timberwolves. It was very polarizing. It was like a head scratcher. What is this? It didn't work out. Similar to that in ways, I felt the same thing about CP3. Wait, hold up. CP3 to the Warriors? Does that even make any sense? Da da da. And the questions that we have is mainly about pace and styles, right? Because we know one thing about the Warriors, the ball is always moving. CP3 is a traditional point guard. He has the rock in his hands. He make the play, whether it's to shoot mid-range or to pass the rock, whatever. And I think the preseason has shown us a flash or two that maybe this actually may work. And I'm going to tell you why it may work. But still, I don't even have an answer. That's why it's a question. Now, if we begin, if Chris Paul could be, let's say, a Sean Livingston for this team, coming off the bench and making an impact there and finding his role and playing within that role, then they should be fine, right? The true thing is the Warriors are devoid of a big man. They need a big. Somebody that can match up against Anthony Davis. They have no answer for Anthony Davis in the playoff series, right? They will not have no answer for Jokic in the playoff series. So if they lose, chances are they lose because they don't have a big man, not because of CP3. That's how I'm looking at it. But the fit does matter in some regards. If CP3, because I'm pretty sure he's going to be mix and match. One thing about Steve Kerr, he always loves to mix and match his lineups, right? So, for example, they may start him at times. He's going to come up the bench and Looney is going to be at the 5 and Draymond will be at the 4, or they're going to vice versa, however they're going to do it. And maybe at the ending, the fourth quarter, he's in the starting lineup, however they do it. But the second unit could benefit, from CP3's appearance and presence. For example, the X factor we looking at here for this team is Jonathan Kuminga, the young bull. He's very athletic. This team is not athletic. This team is old. With all due respect, they're old. That's the one athletic guy who could bring the energy up and down the floor right there. He's very big. And CP3 could help groom that guy to develop and take another leap. So I think this actually may work, but we all know that it may not work. And that's why this is my biggest burning question, because everybody's talking about the Nuggets right now. Everybody's talking about the Lakers. Nobody's talking about the Warriors. Steph is still in the peak of his powers. This right here is the biggest question for me.
That was a great take. Lil, that was a great question. And I think that we'll hopefully have those answers as the season progresses. Hopefully, after the first month, we'll see if it works well or if it's something that's going to falter quickly. A burning question for me on going into this NBA season is what to make of this New Orleans Pelican squad. We don't understand what's going to happen with their injury history, because I'm not talking just Zion Williamson. I'm looking at Brandon Ingram. I'm looking at Trey Murphy. I'm looking at Herb Jones. I'm looking at CJ McCollum. All these guys, Valanciunas, all these guys have a very long injury history. And it's not that they're devoid of talent on the team. They don't lack skills. They don't lack discipline. They lack the ability to stay on the basketball court. And that's the big issue. I think I see them more on social media than on the basketball floor. Are they basketball players or social media influencers? Let me know, because I don't see how a team as dynamic as they can be on the floor with a coach like Willie Green, and this team still cannot find ways to get their star players on the court for longer than a week. These guys are hurt and hobbled every single time, and it alters their chemistry, because when they're on the court, everyone's playing ISO basketball. Everyone's focused on the one-on-one matchups and not getting the open guy, not finding the open shooter, not finding Zion in the paint cutting. Everyone's just saying spread out and let me score the basketball. And that is my question, is what will be the New Orleans Pelicans this season? When they were healthy, when Zion was cooking, we saw them a top 5 seed in the West. But then when guys went out, and then the second half of the season, they try to bring it back together when all the other teams in that conference are already well meshed and have chemistry, we saw what was happening. A bunch of ISO basketball versus team defense, and we all know how that story goes. You're down 20, down 30, and the game is over. So the Pelicans have to show us, what are you really made of? Are you just a team that's looking to play park basketball, one-on-one everything, or are you trying to make some noise in the West and win a championship? So that's my burning question.
Wow. All right. Both of those was brilliant. Let me follow that up. My questions for this NBA season is, should the Denver Nuggets be the favorite? Clearly, they're the defending champions. We know that. They got MVPs over there. They got Murray, Michael Porter Jr. They got a team. They got a complete team. This is not a team with like weakness, just one great player, right? They got a complete team. But should they be the favorites? And the reason why I asked that question is based on this. When last time we got back-to-back champions in the NBA, it's dynamic teams. Steph, Durant, LeBron, D-Wade, like dynamic teams. The great San Antonio teams never repeated. And those are some great teams, right? And this team reminds me of a San Antonio-ish like team. It's a good team. It ain't dynamic. It ain't explosive, right? So should they be the favorites? Because, see, basically, I don't think they're going to go back-to-back. Because I don't think they're a dynamic team like that. So if I don't think they're going to go back-to-back, why would I have them as the favorites? You understand what I'm saying? Not that they will never win another championship, but I don't think they can win back-to-back. San Antonio, like I just said, with Tim Duncan, Manu Ginobili, Tony Parker, never went back-to-back. Popovich, as their coach, never went back-to-back. You need people like Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, LeBron James, D-Wade, Shaq, Kobe. You need those. That's the last three teams that went back-to-back. Those are the last three teams, and they went actually. Kobe and Shaq went three in a row. Those are the last three teams who went back-to-back, going back over 25 years. What are we really talking about? You really think Denver is one of those teams? They're not. So Denver should not be the favorites in the NBA. And I challenge everybody to find another team who you think is going to win the NBA championship. Because the Freddie system believe it won't be the Denver Nuggets.
It's funny because, before I get back to my second lap on my take, when you talk about the Nuggets, remember they made the finals in the bubble, and one could argue if they didn't get hurt, they would have been right up there the next year. Yeah, they went to the Western Conference. They lost to the Lakers. Right. They lost to the Lakers in Game 6, I believe. Right. And if they didn't get hurt, remember they got hurt the last couple of years, and if they didn't, they probably would have went back there, the following year. This is a good team translation because from that time on to when they won the championship, once they fully got healthy, they showed how good they are. And I still think they have the best duo in the league. Now, all these other duos that's being formed around the NBA, we still have yet to be determined, right? Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, yet to be determined. Giannis and Dame, yet to be determined. But right now, if you ask me who's the best duo, it has to be Jokic and Jamal Murray, and they still have pieces over there. They have to overcome the loss of Bruce Brown, and I think Christian Brown will have a larger role because of that. But I still think it's a good team, and they show me when they are healthy that they're going to be a team that you have to beat to get there. So we'll see if they can win it again. I do have one more lap real quickly with my Warriors, right? And I think it's plausible to bring it up, after that take for 99 that you had, because one of the underlying things that nobody's talking about, a future what if, is what if Steph Curry gets CP3 a ring? Because if he wins another championship, that means CP3 is going to finally get his first ring. And one of the things that we don't talk about, we kind of do, but when this trade happened, we stopped talking about it, is how smart Chris Paul is. And everybody's talking about the fit and whatnot, and there's only one ball, but that's not an issue with the Warriors. They always move the ball. It's not an issue. Is it an issue with CP3? We'll see. But he's one of the smartest players to ever play this game. So if there's anybody I trust to figure out a role and carve himself a role and help his team whatever he can, it's CP3. And with a reduced role, will that keep him healthy in the big moments for him to be available to win a championship? You have two of the greatest point guards to play the game on one team. Like, nobody's talking about that. So I think, if they're able to win, then that's a good thing for Chris Paul's legacy and another great thing for Steph Curry's legacy, having another ring.
I would go here really quick. If the Golden State Warriors win the ring and he get Chris Paul a championship, Steph Curry will have to be looked upon as the best player of this generation.
And that's why I literally started off after that take for 99. I think it was a perfect segue. And one more thing. He got Andrew Iguodala, who just retired a ring, David West a ring, Sean Livingston a ring. He's getting guys rings out here.
Kevin
Okay.
Durant a ring.
Kevin Durant a ring. Can't forget about him. We'll see
Please say
who he
that.
be next. Will he be next? We'll see.
Please say that.
I got one more burning question, if you don't mind. I just want to. I have
No, hit
one
me.
more, and this is in the Eastern Conference. What to make of the Boston Celtics and Milwaukee Bucks? Will they replicate their win totals from last year? Last year they were 58. They won 58 and 57 wins respectively. They added bigger name players to their roster. Celtics with Drew Holiday, Kristaps Porzingis. The Bucks with Dame Lillard. They did deplete their team though with depth, right? We understand that when you add bigger name players, you're gonna have to sacrifice some players. But was it the smart move for those teams to do when they were already at the pinnacles of their roster in terms of getting to NBA Finals, getting to Eastern Conference Finals? Was it important for them or dire for them to go chase after bigger name players if it's gonna alter how they played the game? If it's gonna alter giving the ball to their guys, their star players, their superstars? Is it going to be an issue for guys like Giannis, guys like Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown to sacrifice more by giving the ball to these other guys? And is it going to create more wins? I don't know. I don't see it happening. I think they're going to dip a little bit in terms of win totals, and between those two teams. And I think there's going to be teams in the Eastern Conference that might oversee them because of their lack of depth when it goes down to later in the season when guys start getting knick-knack injuries. So I think, the Bucks and the Celtics are playing with fire because the Eastern Conference is rising. It's not dipping down. The competition hasn't gotten weaker. It's only gotten stronger as the years have come, and teams like the Cavs, teams like the Knicks, teams like Indiana Pacers who are creeping up on people, teams like the Philly that's always in the race. It's always in the game. Like, those are the teams that are going to creep up on teams like the Bucks and the Celtics because they have more depth. They have more defensive tenacity that create issues for the star players of the Bucks and the Celtics. So I think that's a big question coming into this. Are we going to be shocked with the lack of productivity that these teams may show throughout their season?
I got a question real quick. Let me ask you a question real quick, cousin. Do you believe Drew Holiday is better than Marcus Smart?
Yes, I do. I think he's a better playmaker. And it's funny because we may hear from the Celtics and the Bucks. Who knows? We about to do the predictions right now.
Right.
But I will give y'all some meat on the bone here. I think he is. I think he's a better playmaker. Right. Obviously he still brings you upside defensively. That Marcus, he doesn't have the grit. That Marcus Smart is a gritty player. Right. He's going to dive on the floor for the loose balls. But he definitely fills holes. Like, he filled the hole of the defense that was left when you lost Marcus Smart, and he adds the playmaking that Marcus Smart didn't have. So when Miami is throwing them zones at you and they leaving Smart open to knock down a three because they don't trust him to knock down a three, Drew Holiday could do that. So, we'll move on to the finals predictions. Before we do, any other burning questions, Cuzzo, or are we going to just segue?
No, I think I'm good. Okay. I had some real good ones.
Let's go and segue to our NBA Finals predictions. And Zay, you already kind of foreshadowed that you're not going with the Bucks and you're not going with the Celtics. So who are we going with here, Zay? Who's going to be the two teams to represent and who's going to win it ultimately?
Well, I think on the Eastern Conference, I'm gonna go real quick. I think this team, they have a lot of questions on their roster, and there's a guy who's been threatening. I guess not threatening, but there's been rumors that he's been threatening to leave. If this team doesn't show that they could win. And so I think they're going to really prove that they could compete with everyone in the Eastern Conference. And I'm going to go with the Cleveland Cavaliers to be the representatives of the Eastern Conference for the NBA Finals. I think they have a big opportunity. It's a scenario where if they don't, Donovan Mitchell will be leaving that team. And that rumor has been hot for quite some time now. It started in Utah when Johnny Bryant went to the Knicks. They were rumored that he was going to go to the Knicks. And, it's been going on since then. It hasn't died down. There has been watered down rumors. The rumors have only amplified since then. In the Western Conference, I think it's tough because there's so many teams in the West that are really competing. I think the Western Conference representatives will be, I'll have to go Phoenix Suns right now. Not because of the big three, because you all know what they have in Devin Booker, Bradley Beal, and Kevin Durant, but it's because they added a lot of depth pieces to that team that round that team all around. When they got rid of Campaign, I'm like, oh, what are they doing? And they got rid of DeAndre Ayton, I'm like, what are they doing? But they acquired so many solid depth players on their bench, and now their bench is really stacked. It's going to be very difficult for a team to have to not only keep up with the big three, but try to keep up with the grittiness of that Phoenix Suns bench as well. And I think the finals will look like the Cleveland Cavaliers versus the Phoenix Suns.
Wow.
Yo, I got a question.
That's a hot take, boy.
I have a question too, because what I kind of want to do, since we did burning questions, feel free. Like, if you had a burning question for those two teams that you picked to represent, what would it be? And cousin, when you do yours, do the same thing. If you don't mind.
Absolutely.
All right. So my biggest question with the Cavaliers is, did you add enough shooting? Because their biggest shooting, they had biggest shooting questions because the shooters are only Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland. Was Max Strus and George Niang good enough to bring into this team and bolster that 3-point shooting percentage, to bolster the 3-point shooting makes, and for the big buckets, those games where they really need it the most? Donovan Mitchell, we all know, high volume shooter. Darius Garland, we all know, high volume shooter. Who else? It can't just be two guys. The Phoenix Suns, is it going to be ISO basketball? Like, what is the game plan here for the Phoenix Suns? We can't have isometrics throughout the entire season. When the playoffs come, it's team basketball. They're going to trap you. They're going to W. They're going to make sure they swing. You have to swing the rock to the person that you don't want to pass to. You might have to swing it to Nurkic, or you might have to swing it to somebody else. What's going to happen when the ISO does not work? Phoenix Suns, what are you doing? So for me, it's the Suns. Is it going to be ISO ball or team ball? And for the Cavaliers, how many threes is enough for you?
Okay, cousin, I'm going to let you go ahead.
Man,
questions and answers.
Listen, man, that was pretty good. I ain't gonna lie. And hot take, man, because you definitely swinging for the fences, but I'm not gonna swing for the fences. I'm going with the basics, okay? And I'm gonna start with the East, right? And I got two teams that got a shot to come out the East, and this is pretty easy. It's Boston or Milwaukee, right? It's either one. And who I'm picking the Boston Celtics to beat the Milwaukee Bucks in the Eastern Conference Finals. Okay, I think Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, not Marcus Smart, Drew Holiday and Porzingis as a starting five, it's legit. Right now, clearly, I heard what you said, Zay. They benched a little suspect. I get it, but I think this is their time. I think Tatum is going to get paid. I think the Boston Celtics are going to beat the Milwaukee Bucks because I believe, as great as Dame is and as great as Giannis is, they're going to be able to outmatch them at the end of games. And I think Drew Holiday is going to have the last laugh in that Eastern Conference. Y'all traded me away for some explosive toy, and I'm going to smack him in the face because I shut him down in the playoffs before. Okay? When he was on Portland and I was on when Drew Holiday was on
the Bucks.
Pelicans.
Oh,
When he was on the Pelicans, they played in the playoffs. He shut Dame down. Go look it up. Shut them down. They beat them in a series that year. Portland was favored to win that series. They beat them in a series that year. And Drew Holiday is licking his chops. He wants this matchup so bad. And I think it's going to happen. And I'm picking the Boston Celtics to beat the Milwaukee Bucks in the East. Okay? Let me shift it over to the West, and I'm going to give you some answers later. So I got Boston coming out of the East. Let's go to the West. My two teams in the West, and the West is flooded. Well, clearly we got injuries-prone people with Kawhi Leonard and the Clippers and all that. I'm going with what I believe is going to happen. So I'm not going to say if this person's injured or not injured. Anthony Davis, whatever. I'm just going with what I think is going to happen. And what I think is going to happen, I got the Phoenix Suns and I got the Los Angeles Lakers. I think they're going to go at it. I think it's going to be a Kevin Durant, LeBron James matchup that we kind of been waiting to see again. All right, this is the first time they played against each other in the preseason. I think in like 3-4 years or some craziness. We're going to get a nice, good 7-game series with LeBron James, Kevin Durant, and I'm picking the Los Angeles Lakers to win that series. I'm picking the Lakers to go back to the finals. I'm putting a lot of my money on Anthony Davis being available at the end of the season. Just to be fair and clear, I'm putting a lot of money on that. So like I said, with the injury thing, but I'm putting a lot of money on Anthony Davis being healthy at the end of the season. I think the Lakers will take out Phoenix. I think LeBron James is dedicated this season to his son. And just because I don't think LeBron James is better than Michael Jordan, don't mean I don't think he's great. He's one of the all-time great players of all times and still running. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm not disrespecting him by the slightest. He's one of the greatest. Okay. Top 5, top 3 guaranteed. but I got the Lakers. And then my winner out of the Lakers versus Boston, I got Boston. I got Boston winning the championship. I got Jason Tatum finally getting to the top, MVP possibly of the league, but definitely MVP of the finals. And that's my take right there. Now, as far as what do I feel as far as did Boston answer the questions? I think they did. Because no disrespect to Marcus Smart, he just didn't have the sweat. He didn't have not just the playmaking, cousin. He didn't have I hate to go against him a little bit. The basketball intelligence at crucial moments, okay, and fourth quarter play and playoff play that Drew Holiday has. And Drew Holiday also got championship pedigree that he's going to add to this team. He knows what it takes to win a title. He's going to give them the confidence that they need to get over the top. Nobody can tell me that Tatum and Brown, they got the talent to go to a championship and win it. Clearly, they went to the finals just a couple of years ago. They need to get over the top. And Drew Holiday, not just from a physical perspective, from a mental perspective, wisdom, he's going to help to get them over the top and get Jason Tatum to his first championship. Now, as far as the Lakers are concerned, I thought the Lakers was right there last year, and they found something. Okay, they found something at the end of the season. It just was too late. So the chemistry that they was building at the end of last season, I think it's going to spill into this season. And I think LeBron James dedicating that season to his son, Anthony Davis, hopefully he dedicate his body to stay in shape. And I think those two right there is so dynamic. I think Anthony Davis, no disrespect, when this dude is on his game, offensively and defensively, there's nobody in the league like him. There's nobody in the league like him. Because when he's healthy, he have no weaknesses. Okay? Mentally, we understand. But physically, he's a beast. And I think they will come out of the West, but just come up short in the NBA Finals.
Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead with my two teams here. I think the Eastern Conference Finals is going to be the Bucks and the Celtics. You know, and I'm going to go with the Celtics to come out. Mm-hmm. Now, the reason why is I'm going to explain it. Now, I'm going to start off with my question that I have for the Celtics, because I do think they are very polarizing. You know, will their top-heavy approach be their demise? Because a lot of people, including Zay, think that they're going top-heavy is going to be their demise because of all the depth that they lost. And it's funny because last year, the reason why I picked them to come out was because of their depth. And now I'm going opposite here. I'm picking them because I believe in their top six. But obviously, health is going to be a big factor. Can KP stay on the floor? Can he be healthy? And can Al Horford, who you also depending on, you know, turn back the clock in ways? Because I thought he kind of lost a step last year, but he still can defend. We saw what he did to Joel Embiid last year in the playoffs. Right. So can he, you know, does he have any injuries or anything? Could he be healthy? That's also big. It's very top heavy here. And that's the thing that concerns me a little bit. Is that top heaviness, because they lost guys like Grant Williams. They lost Marcus Smart. They lost Rob Williams. They lost a lot of guys, Malcolm Brogdon. They lost a lot of depth, and now they're trying to go all in. And I think for me, they just have to do it. Jaylen Brown and Tatum has to do it. This got to be the year. If it's not this year, it's never going to happen. In 2025 and 2026, they are going to account for 70% of the team's cap. This has to be the year that they win it. And you're going to have performances with Jason Tatum like the game 7 against the 76ers where he drops 40, right? He cannot have a 0 for 10 half like he did in game 6 against the 76ers. That can't happen. We can't have Jaylen Brown going ghost if Tatum is struggling. So I'm putting a lot of stock and a lot of confidence in Tatum and Brown, and it scares me. It does. I'm not going to lie, Zay. I'm scared. Because that's a lot of trust I'm putting in them in that top 6 right there. But Drew Holiday makes me feel a little bit better because of his championship, you know, tenacity, what he brings, right? He makes me feel a lot better about this team. And Kristaps, when he's healthy, he can space the rock. And he's a Joe Mazzulla guy. Joe Mazzulla loves shooting threes. He fits right in there, and he opens the driving lanes for Tatum. And Brown is going to be much easier. Right? Because he's shooting threes, they're going to be able to drive right in there. So it's much easier. They don't have to deal with all this pressure and all that. So I'm going to go with them to come out in the Eastern Conference. In the Western Conference, I'm kind of going with what happened last year. I'm going to go with the Nuggets overcoming the Lakers. And I got the Nuggets coming out. I just think the big fella, Jokic, is at the prime of his powers. He's always consistent. He's never hurt like that. He's always available. I value things like that. The NBA is survival of the fittest.
Clear.
And Jokic is always going to be there. Jamal Murray, I trust in him in his fourth quarter moments. We know
Yeah.
he's like Jimmy Butler in the fourth quarter in the playoffs. He doesn't shy away from the moment. I trust him. I think Christian Brown, as I stated before, is going to have a bigger role, and having him in those big games in the finals, giving him valuable minutes is only going to be valuable to his development. I think it's going to be a bigger part with Bruce Brown out of there. And I just like their depth. I think we could get more from Michael Porter from an offensive perspective.
Right.
And I like them coming out. Who I'm going to go with to win it all is tough, but I'm with Cuzzo. I'm just going all in with the Celtics this year. I may regret it. They're one of those teams that, they're hard-headed, but I think if it has to be a year, if it's ever going to happen, it got to be this year.
Woo.
And
Listen,
those
man.
are our NBA Finals predictions right there. Any last comments before we move on, or are we good?
Man, right before. Oh, no, go ahead, Freddie.
No, Zay, I just want to say you are taking a big swing. And I'm going to say this, cousin. If Zay is right, I'm going to come back and I'm going to stand an ovation because it's a hot take, bro.
Standing ovation.
Nah, give him some credit for that. I give you credit for that. I'm not like totally against it though. Don't get me wrong. I'm not like, oh my God, what are you talking about? It's just like, wow, man. But give you credit for that. And with Phoenix. I'm like, wow. So either one of them make the finals, Zay, I'm giving you, you're gonna get my props, man. Real talk.
It's like the Browns. The Browns took a swing where they got Deshaun Watson. Zay's taking a swing with his predictions.
No, it's just that there's a lot of reports about Donovan Mitchell not wanting to be there or whatever it is, and it's saying if they're not winning, why am I here? Kind of thing. I think they make that leap just for the fact that it's rather win now or go or get out of there. But I'm ready for the season to start. It's been a very long off season, and I'm locked in for tomorrow. It's gonna be crazy.
Yeah,
absolutely. And make sure y'all tune in. Those watching, you got a doubleheader tomorrow, and I'm going to be locked and loaded.
Please like and subscribe for all the up-to-date content. We've been slinging shows left and right, slinging content left and right. Please don't miss anything. If you do, like, subscribe, leave a comment, or leave a question, something you may want to answer, something you may have. All ideas are great ideas. Nothing's a dumb question.